every animal that I can think of that we are around, they fight. Trying to get a look at the herd this morning. No idea if this is all of them. I would suspect it's not, because I haven't driven around the pasture yet, but I'll make a quick run around and just make sure we don't have any heads in a 6-inch square somewhere. But they look pretty good. The billies are really taking it. They're taking it on the chin. It's been difficult for them and hard on them to settle all these does. And I think part of it has just been the fighting. I can hear some of them banging around right now. I saw one of the big old bucks has got his horns are all cracked up, and I don't know what's going to happen there, but we're going to have to figure some things out on that. See if we can't figure out a way to reduce the stress on them a little bit during the breeding season. Here's one of them right here in front of me that's got I think his horns are cracked a little bit maybe. Yeah, right there. See if I can get to it right here. Look at his horns. He's a warrior. I don't know if that means we need to split him into groups or not, but you know, I always go back to nature and you know how they were created and intended to function, and you know, putting them in groups, you know, if you really think about it, I don't know, they may have, like an elk, you know, they get their own little set of cows and then they kind of manage them. But they do, however, have to fight constantly to maintain that set from satellite bucks. So I don't know. We'll have to kind of really think about that. If anybody has any input on that, that would be outstanding. It doesn't mean that's what we'll do. But I do like hearing from people that are way wiser than me, which is pretty much everybody. And it gives me ideas. So just a little something that we're working on, dealing with, whatever you want to say. But it's getting close to time to move them back to the other area. You can see I've given them a little treat this morning. Just making sure they still respond to that, because we're fixing to take some to the pens, or take them all to the pens at some point in here and sort some off. We've got some friends here from Tennessee, and they need a couple of Spanish nannies over there in Tennessee. So we're going to see if we can't help them out that way. Indy, what do you think? What's that all over your neck? Looks like something nasty. She's been rolling in something. I'm gonna make a quick run around the place, and while they're all kind of gathered up here, and see if there's any stragglers. A lot of times if there's any goats that are having some issues, here's one he's got a bad foot from, I'm sure that's from the breeding season. But if they're having an issue, a health issue, a lot of times they will be, they'll stay back somewhere. I left my bucket over here. They'll stay back and they're a lot easier to identify. Those of you that have farm animals, y'all probably already know that, you know, if you have them coming in and the ones that kind of come in late, you know, you just need to take a good look at them and make sure, hey, darkness, there's old darkness right there, get out of there. Take a good look at them, because sometimes that means they don't feel very good. All right, let's go take a gander. You know, here's some more of the additional billies that we got, which are probably creating some of the issue. You know, we got more because we got more nannies, and they actually came with the nannies, so they're all related, which that's a good thing for us, because that means they're going to perform hopefully close to the same. But what that does is it creates more stress, because now instead of having 11 mature billies, you know, now all of a sudden we've got, 17, 18, whatever the mature billies numbers are. But we brought a bunch more in. So mature animals are a lot more aggressive when it comes to breeding. So it creates more stress, it creates more fighting, it just creates more of that stuff. And I don't know if that's what's causing some of the issue for us or not, but it's something that we definitely have to address. You know, we just got to address it, because if we don't, I don't really know what's going to happen. That billy right there in the middle was one that I saw earlier. He's one of the new ones. He's lost his tags, and he was really humped up the other day. And by humped up, I just mean, you know, when you're looking at livestock, if they're standing around all humped up, usually there's something wrong. Now, he is doing better today. So I don't know if he was just cold, but I told Lisa, I said, there's one over there that I don't know if he's going to make it. And he's doing fine. So I don't know. We'll continue to look around at the rest of them and see if there's any other issues going on with them that we haven't already seen. One thing I do want to say is that we have postponed when we were going to move them out of here. If you were watching earlier in the year, or actually several months ago, we were talking about maybe moving them back to our summer area a little bit early, because I felt like they were getting short. And I had mentioned sometime in there that I think they're starting to kind of switch to what they're eating, and they're eating more of the grass and the winter annuals that are starting to come from the recent rains. And so that's kind of what we're seeing here. So I think it's going to allow us to leave them here a little bit longer, and that's just going to give us the ability to ration out a little bit more. That one got a little too close to red, but ration it out a little bit more, which is a good thing. It allows us to kind of better utilize it. It keeps us from having to move them back a little bit early into our area where we are hunting right now. And it's just going to make it a little better. Now, we're still probably going to end up moving them early, but that's always subject to change. There's a couple of more of those billies we brought in with the new nannies, and they look good. So, you know, that's the other side of the equation. Is it just a few of them that aren't doing well? And do you need to just write that off as, okay, those animals aren't going to function well, or those animals are older, or those animals are doing most of the breeding? There's a lot of different things you take into account. You know, if you think about nature and how everything works, look at the white-tailed bucks. They fight. The males fight, sometimes to the death.
Oh, flipped him over.
Look at the bulls, the cattle and the bulls. They fight. Every animal that I can think of that we are around. We've got video of the pigs fighting, and I mean, it starts at a young age on all of these things. Anybody who's watched nature for a long time, they know, and they've seen how that stuff, they start at a young age, start sparring, and then as they get older, it turns into the death. You know, they're fighting for the right to breathe. That's part of it. And I know that's what's going on with the goats. But I also know that I don't want to lose a bunch of billies because there's something I can be doing just a little bit different. Because, you know, we try to do things as in sync with nature as possible. But obviously, we're not wide open like it used to be. We've got fences. We've got to contain in a small area. And so there may be something that I can do to correct that. And I'm always looking for solutions for that stuff. I'm stepping on dogs here. I'm always looking for solutions. And so that's one of the advantages of YouTube. And I've talked about this before because I've had people reach out and help us. And I mean, giving us great ideas on different things. And, you know, what's everybody's thoughts? Remember, this is a commercial operation. And so it's difficult for us to split up, you know, 20 nannies with one billy here, 20 nannies with one billy here, 20 nannies with one billy here. That's difficult for us to implement something like that. That doesn't mean we wouldn't look at something like that. One of the things that I've thought of is it seems like we didn't have a lot of issues whenever I let the billy kids, in other words, a huge number of not fully mature billies, breed the nannies. It seems like they had less fighting and more breeding. So I don't know, maybe that's the solution, but you guys reach out. Let us know. We'd like to hear that stuff. Like I said earlier, it doesn't mean that's what we'll do, but it always helps me start processing and thinking about things that I've missed because you guys always think of something that I wasn't thinking of. So we'd love to hear from you on that. You know what happened to him. Somebody jacked that horn up. You telling me they're not under stress? But look at his condition. It's fine. That's one of the myotonic crosses. You know, the same thing happened last year, but it was pink eye, if you remember. We had to pull the billies for 2 weeks into the season, then we had to leave them off for 2 weeks. So it messed our kidding season up a little bit. But it was the same thing. It was stress. So this is the second year in a row that I've observed this stuff. So that's why I say, okay, it's time to address it and figure out if there's a solution or if that's just part of it. Because, you know, they're not all beat up, but there are some that are beat up. So we'll have to look at that. What we want to try and do, or what we want to try and not do, is change the model because it seems to be working well for us. We don't want to decrease the number of kids that we wean based on our model and that type of thing. but we do want to adjust if we need to. We don't want to keep our eyes wide open. We don't want to shut our eyes to something that's possibly going on. So that's where you guys come in. Drop us a note if you have any miraculous ideas. I'd love to hear them. And we appreciate your help, and we appreciate you watching. So hopefully we'll see you next time. Later.